Hello, Dee, how are you? Okay, so now in this Panchakrama, of Nagarjuna, he has the 5 stages. And I think I have to find page 66, here we are. And we talked, I think, last time quite a lot about the magic body. And that's the 3rd stage, the magic body, where you have such a profound entry of all the winds into the central channel, and you dissolve the wind into the central channel from the right and left channels. How are you? And then you actually go through the process like similar to the death process, I think I explained to you. And in order to pass the 3rd stage, the mind objective, remember I told you of the 5 stages, and the sometimes called the mind objective, the mind isolation, and then there is the magic body. Those are the 3 names of the 3rd stage, but really you could say 3 parts of the 3rd stage. And in order to reach the mind objective, where the mind is isolated from all perception of ordinariness, you in a way have left the meat body. You have withdrawn from your coarse body to your subtle body, remember, through the 8 stages of dissolution we talked about. And then that which is the subtle body is the Zalung Tigle, the drops, channels, and the winds, the energies. And then your mind, subtle mind, is called the mind of moonlit space, sunlit space, and darklit space. Those are luminance, radiance, and immanence, as I call them. And then you reach the super subtle stage, where the body and mind are the same thing, although we call the mind pure energy, very super subtle energy, and no particles, below the area of particle, or maybe wave or something. And the subtle mind is clear light of the void. So it's a clear light of the void, and that the ordinary human being, we've all been there. We've all been there many, many times. Every time we died in previous lives, we went exactly to that place. In fact, death is defined as where you go out of this coarse and the subtle, which the subtle is like the unconscious, and you come to the super conscious, or super subtle conscious, but we never notice it when we come there, or we wouldn't be reborn as an ordinary unenlightened being. Because we go past it too fast. We're used to being a separate being, and we've discussed all this, although some of you are new here, so you'll just have to experience it with a shock. You're used to being a separate being where you're inside your skin and the rest of the universe is outside. And at that clear light stage, at the voidness stage, the 4 voids, they call it sometimes, the 4 blisses in other traditions. And when you reach that stage, then there's this sort of slippage into a super subtle plane where you're completely separate from your coarse body, your meat body. And that is why at that 3rd stage, the very famous thing of Tantra, which is the male-female union, whether you are a yogi or yogini, you have to have a partner because there has to be a mother and a father in union. But it isn't ordinary, and then a lot of people get the wrong idea about Tantra, that it's just some sneaky way for a bunch of horny monks to have sex, which is completely wrong, because actually it's not ordinary sexuality at all, but it is the posture of sexual union, but it is completely different because both partners are at a yogic stage of where they hit the subtle body. And then the reason they are in father-mother union, as it is called, yabyum, not male-female, but actually father-mother. The reason they are in that union is that this gives them a place to return to their coarse body as a ngakpa, as a siddha, as a shaman. They come back to this, they have to have a mother and a father. And just like they get reborn back in their own body. There's something in the tradition of Marpa, there's something called the 9 mergers, where they merge death clear light with the samadhi or sleep clear light, and with the enlightenment clear light, which is voidness, that means. And they only do that by the mind of bliss. And I'm not going to go back into that because it would take too long, and we already did it with those of you who are in the class. And you who are latecomers, it's just a shock. But that's what it is. So you actually leave then at that time, you have a conscious ability to arise from the subtle plane out of your meat space body. And that's John Perry Barlow's expression. The electronic people who live in the internet, when they get back in their ordinary senses and body, they call it meat space, which I like very much, rather than sort of virtual space. So this is actual virtual space already from the Tibetan, Indian and Tibetan tradition, yogic tradition. You're in this virtual space where you have what's called the magic body, Maya Deha, the Maya body. And rude people call it the illusion body. I don't call it illusion because she's not that's the mother of Buddha. It's Maya Devi, the goddess of Maya. So it's magical. But you can call magic illusion. You can call it that. But it's it's a put down, Of course, when you say magic, it means something creative, rather than illusion, something incorrect or unreal, Because it is real on a virtual level, the magic body. So then in the magic body, depending on what you achieved in the creation stage, where you visualize the mandala and yourself as a deity, like a four-armed Avalokiteshvara or a 34-armed Yamantaka or whatever different kind of tantric forms there are, whatever stability you had in meditating yourself in that kind of creation stage, now when you have a body like a dream body, like a lucid dream body, but you're in this trance state in a union, and it doesn't have to be a physical union. You could have a what they call an intuition consort, a jnana mudra, and it could be male or female depending on whether you're male or female or how you're meditating yourself. But in any case, in that stage, you then do a lot of meritorious things, and then in that virtual reality, you also go back down to the clear light, and you sort of, in a way, blissfully die out of whatever divine or Buddha body you have, and again come back, and again give your body away, and again come back, and again go through the four blisses, and again give your body back, and you come back to your body, to your subtle body. You can do that like you could in a dream. For example, the reason the Bodhisattva takes 3 incalculable aeons of lifetimes in the exoteric teaching to become a Buddha is that Bodhisattva has to live and die, and live and die, and live and die in a human, preferably, or divine, or even animal life form, many, many millions of times. And they have to give their life, and give their body, and give their blood, and commit great acts of generosity, and patience, and tolerance, and ethics, and meditation, and wisdom, and so on. And it takes a long time. Each time you die and you're reborn, you got to have a mom and dad, you got to go to school, they've got to bring you up, you have to wipe your nose, wipe your butt, and then finally you make your bodhisattva achievement in that life, and then you die. And so it takes a long time. But in the magic body practice, or also he's going to talk about at the yoga practice, you do all of that in this subtle plane as if you were in a dream. Like you could have a dream in which you lived and died 15 times in a night. And if you got really good at it, you could do it 100 times. Because you're only going out of a coarse, a relatively coarse, virtual body, having a virtual slippage into the infinite, indescribable clear light of the void, and then returning to another one, and returning and returning. And that is how the Vajrayana accelerates the evolutionary process of a being from ordinary level to a Buddha being. Yeah, now I'm not saying I know for sure that even this can happen, but this is their technology, this is their system, this is what the great siddhas of India and the Buddha in teaching the Vajrayana, this is the kind of super subtle, highly accelerated, it's like an internal genetic engineering of an altruistic, completely enlightened being, okay? So now the fourth stage, after the magic body stage, when you've achieved that ability, which is of course way beyond me, but I'm just following what they say about it, you come to what's called the fourth stage of the 5 stages of perfection, which is called the stage of, it's called Abhisambodhi, manifest enlightenment. It's sometimes called clear light stage. And because there the emphasis is again on plunging your virtual magic body again and again into clear light of the void, again and again plunging into it, again and again, and then rising up out of it and plunging into it. So because the sort of deep instinctual, self-centered, I'm a being opposed to everything else, all of these instincts, you're working through them at the super subtle, super subconscious level. You become conscious of the super subconscious. And so you no longer, by finally Buddhahood, you have no unconscious. You're conscious of every level yourself, from the subatomic particle, from the quantum, indescribable Copenhagen Declaration level of untheorizable and unquantifiable reality, up to the level of meat space. That's what a Buddha is capable of doing. So much so that then they have this preposterous thing for materialists, but not for us Buddhists, where a being who's a Buddha can manifest simultaneously hundreds of bodies, thousands of bodies if necessary. Although I sometimes worry, where is the Buddha's Nirmanakaya, and where was he or she and it when we were voting? Why weren't they casting the vote? I wonder about that. But so I get a little dubious sometimes. But that's the theory, anyway, I'm explaining, okay? So now Nagarjuna describes this fourth stage. He says, I pay homage to the Vajra hero, teacher of universal emptiness. I will explain the fourth stage of manifest enlightenment. That's Abhisambodhi. That's the original self-existent Lord, the sole great souled deity. Greater than him is the Vajra mentor, because he grants the personal instructions. Having truly, now again, Dr. Nida, who was not only a doctor, he is a Vajra mentor. I am not. So actually we're in the presence of one of the Vajra mentor for his disciples, that means. And which I hope to be one. But I don't know, he hasn't accepted me necessarily yet. I'm not sure he's going to accept the professor. I don't know for sure. But I hope so. And then there's a lot of things about how great the Vajra mentor is, but I'm not going to read all of it because I want to get to him, but I want to read it just enough to have touched on it. The luminances should be generated, striving with the Enlightenment spirit. And this is the initiatory thing. Place them in the vase, and the mentor out of love at midnight consecrates the good disciple at midnight. Having truly gotten the consecration in the pre-dawn light again, the disciple folds one's palms to please the mentor with worship and praise. And here, this is, then as those of you who are new here don't know that, the moonlit space, sunlit space, and the darklit space are these three: luminance, radiance, and immanence, or those are called the three luminances. Even the black one, the dark one, is a black luminance. And then the clear light is this gray twilight, like transparency is really a better translation than clear light, because it's not a brightness that has shadows, casts shadows, and has the opposite of darkness. The brightnesses are at the subtle mind level of sun and moon, and the darkness is its opposite. But the clear light is both bright and dark simultaneously. That's why it's indescribable, because it's both brilliant and it's both pitch black. So they make analogy, pre-dawn twilight is the time of the clear light of the void, only to be realized through the melting of the great bliss, what they call the Mahasukha. So anyway, then the disciple, after receiving that consecration, prays the Guru mentor. He says, I pay homage to you, the unconditional, liberated from the three realms, which are the realm of matter, the pure matter of desire, realm of pure matter, and realm of matter, immaterial realm. Enlightened, equanimous as the space, not corrupted by all desires. I pay homage to you, the unconditional, not dependent on the aggregates, that's the body-mind complex, not on the elements and nor the media, those are the sense spheres, but liberated from all mistakes. I pay homage to you, the unconditional, free of concepts and imaginations, your mind free of fixed abode, your mind utterly inconceivable, whose mind is like open space without fabrication or corruption. I pay homage to you, the unconditional. Grant the vision of direct enlightenment, whose nature is universal emptiness. And the disciple, now this is because, it's very interesting, the highest of the initiations is called the word initiation. And it's beyond the initiation of the consort or the vase initiation, the secret initiation, the wisdom intuition initiation, which are the first three, although sometimes those are unpacked into a whole number. But the most powerful one is the word one. And the word one is received just by hearing the word. That like you are, clear light, you are Buddha in clear light, etc. Male, female, whatever the word, you are Guya Samaja, you are great perfection, you are whatever you are, Vajradhara. So it's just hearing the word in that time of the subtle plane, because the word is it's mantra, and the word creates in a way that state. So it's the hearing of that word. It's very, very interesting. So then the guru, the mentor, as I like to call it. I don't like the word master so much. I mean, there is such a thing, But the problem with master is master has to have a slave, whereas mentor has a disciple, and it's sort of a little lighter. You know, it isn't quite as heavy as the guru word, but the master is not wrong, of course. So then one asks, you see, and this is after midnight and after this and that. It says, "Great protector, grant me the vision of direct enlightenment, free from evolution and birth, abandoning the three illuminations." So beneath those three lights and darkness. "Great mentor, grant to me the great intuition of all Buddhas, the abode of all the transcendent ones, the unexcelled Vajra intuition." And the reason I call it intuition, I just want to say this. This again, other people don't do this. They go wisdom, wisdom, wisdom all the time. But there's two words, prajna, which means like supercritical insight, wisdom. And then jnana, which actually means simply knowledge. But I call it intuition because no self-centered person can see the clear light. Even Buddha doesn't see the clear light because Buddha is the clear light. And everything is the clear light. So it's like when you see a reflection in a mirror, all you see is the details of the reflection. The reflection is purely on the surface of the mirror. But simultaneously with your perceiving of all these objects in the mirror, you have an intuition which you don't have to articulate at all, but you have a parallel knowledge that they're just on the surface of a mirror, right? So the Buddha has a parallel knowledge in dealing with the suffering beings, and still in the relative plane through his emanation body, that he also is all of those beings and is the clear light of the void, like the mirror is the clear light of the void, which is not just, it's not like they're in the mirror or the mirror is under them or behind them or inside them. They are the whole surface and every texture and every configuration and every fiber of every living being and every atom and subatomic